I'm Joe, and I'm 32.
I'm Ruthie, and I am 30, and I will be 31 in like a month. That's kind of crazy.
And it'll be the same next year and the year after that. 1 year.
1 year! We did it!
I am an IT manager for a school that services special needs kids. And it's pretty fun.
And I am a music teacher at a school that services kids with special needs.
So we live in a side-by-side duplex in Gettsville in the greater Buffalo area. Which one? I suppose the biggest one is the birth of our son, Jameson. He was born just last month. He is 5 weeks old at the recording of this video.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super awesome.
He's so cute.
I don't know, there's a lot to say. Oh yeah, is it gonna be him the whole time? Like, Jameson is the most memorable. He is the most...
Honestly though, yeah. And I think also it's been very interesting that the first year of marriage, that the most of it has been made up of me being pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've known her as a wife longer pregnant than I have us wives.
I know. So I feel like if you can hang in there with me being hormonal and crazy, you can the rest of the marriage is gonna be a breeze.
All right, you make sure you listen to that future Joe.
I feel like we've deepened our friendship this year.
So the word friendship.
Even closer, yeah. Well,
Change in friendship.
Because you see all like the nice things when you're dating, and then I don't know, when you're living together, you realize that the other person poops. You know what I mean?
That's on tape.
Even when your baby won't.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh boy. When we're 50 looking at this video, it's gonna be great.
Okay.
So yeah, change and friendship.
Yeah.
How resilient you are, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You come off as very soft, kind, and caring, but like, you know, whether it's our son crying his head off or me crying my head off, how resilient you can be. Yeah, I don't know.
I think I've learned you'll do anything for your family. And I think I knew that before, but just seeing it in such like practical ways, like, I don't know, the way you like take care of stuff around the house, like get the lawn mowed and all of like the practical things that I never had to
mowing the lawn.
I know, but like you make sure things get done, and the way you take care of like all of our insurance stuff and like make all the phone calls, and like I don't think there's anything you won't do for our family. Make sure everything's okay.
Do anything for love. Funniest
Thinking
thing.
we wouldn't have kids with 2 years.
No, there's a lot of fun things. Funny. Oh no, I think it was just the other day
What?
Yep.
when this guy, our cat Charlie, I was coming down the stairs and he jumped up and got my butt cheeks with his claws. And we lost it for like 20 minutes. I thought that was super funny.
And then you came downstairs and pulled down your pants, and I was like, what? Joe, what's going on? And you were like, are there claw marks in my butt?
This is not a PG video.
That's okay.
That was funny.
Honestly, I mean, I think you could put it in one word, like provision.
Provision.
Over and over
Yeah.
and over and over again. Like how you went from one job to getting a $15,000 raise right when
We needed to move. We found out we were pregnant.
yeah,
All of this stuff
and
happened.
didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it off, and dealing with like a surprise bill.
All happened in the same month too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And seeing, you know, God work and making sure everything worked out perfectly, and also on top of it being able to pay off a huge chunk of my student loans on top of it.
It's wild. Provision, I think, is a good
A new
word.
car.
Well, new to us.
It's pretty new.
No, I would
and
say
high-tech.
this year has been wrought with a lot of challenges that asked us the question: are we going to trust God
Yeah.
to see us through from a provision standpoint? And as much fear and anxiety that each one of those situations has caused, and they're still not completely over. There's some stuff we got going on right now, but
We've had the groundwork to see that it's going to be okay.
exactly. I like our wedding verse.
I was gonna say that, yeah. I think a lot of times people pick like the really cute lovey-dovey Bible verses, but I feel like we didn't just pick like a love verse. We picked one that really applied not just to the wedding but to like our marriage. And
Right.
it was Colossians 3:12-14, and talked about putting on love, which binds us together in perfect harmony, and talking about forgiving each other's faults and all of that kind of stuff that is like hard to do on the day-to-day, and remembering to serve each other when you don't necessarily feel like it. Boy Meets World. We watched the whole thing.
We've been.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it's my third time going through it. Nice piece of '90s history for you. Honestly, though, with recently we've been going and getting you caught up with the Star Wars films, and that's been fun.
Last Airbender, we finished that whole thing.
What else? We're watching Superman and Lois right now. Suits is a cool show that we've been watching.
Marvel.
Just the Marvel movies. They're kind of on the downturn
them.
now for us.
Yeah, but I watched them in chronological order
Yes.
for once.
Yes. So that's been fun.
Gyra.
Yeah, the song Gyra says, Gyra, the Father, that He is enough, that we will be content in any circumstance.
Dresses
The lilies in beauty and splendor, how much more will He clothe you? If He watches over every sparrow, how much more does He love you?
Yeah.
And that kind of goes along with the provision thing.
Well, and the funny thing was, the week that we got a bunch of unknowns tossed at us was the week we were scheduled for worship, and we sang that song as a duet. And we were really preaching to ourselves that day.
It's funny how that happened. I liked our honeymoon. That was
I know. I don't know how many people go to a railroad museum on their honeymoon, but I thought that was fun.
breaking out the real romance here, and it's great. But no, I think just hanging out by the lake and
Yeah.
peace and enjoying each other's company was, I don't know, that was great.
Also, any date that involves ice cream, I think, is a win. This is an ice cream family.
I mean, we could say a couple things. Honestly, having
To prepare for.
a son or a kid in general, is just was a huge challenge that we had to rise towards.
In the best way, though.
In the best way. This insurance debacle that we were going through. I mean, we were on the hook for what, $10,500, and
But we thought we were going to pay $10.
$10. It's like, oh, there's 3 extra zeros on the end of that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And so, even though ultimately that was taken care of, we still prepared for a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And, figuring out what mattered to us and what was important and how we're going to handle this and putting our heads together.
Yeah. And that was huge for me, too, seeing the way that you extended grace to me when a little bit of an oversight on my part. Like, if I had done, maybe a few more phone calls, I would have discovered it was going to be that bad. And, the way you said we're going to trust God You had worship music playing in the house when I came home after you had opened the letter.
I needed to like set myself up right. No, it was really great. We read from Psalm 70. Well, I read from Psalm 75 the second that I got that statement of benefits, and it talked about how even though the earth shakes around you, you can rest assured that the pillars of the Lord will remain firm.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that hit. And that morning, there was an earthquake. You could look that up
in Buffalo.
In Buffalo, there was an earthquake that morning that we got that exact same bill. Look it up, it's a thing. It was wild that God spoke so poignantly to us in that particular point in our lives. It was wild. Well, I don't know, so much, I think.
Yeah. In every way, I think.
Yeah. It's been a really good partnership, and I don't necessarily have to worry about ABCXYZ because she's got that handled, and hopefully she doesn't have to worry about ABCDE because I got that handled, and ultimately God handled all of it anyway. So it's been really, really cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. During all those other moments, but like trying to remind myself, and remind ourselves that, like, you know, He's got us. It's, you know, these answers didn't get answered right away. It was a long 6 months before this insurance thing got answered, and you know, there was a lot of doubt as to whether or not we were gonna make it. There was a lot of doubt as to whether or not we're gonna see this through, and then on top of that, other things coming down the pike in the midst of that. So it's not just one struggle that we're dealing with at a time. It's one struggle, and then the next week, and then the next month, and then the next one, and you know, wondering how's it all going to shake out at the end. And yeah, there's a lot of doubt.
Yeah.
If I were to say a breakthrough, there's a few things that happened this past year, but I think the one that really hits the point home is I'm snuggling with my boy, you know, and I'm looking at him and I'm just enamored with him. I love this kid so much. And I looked at him, and without even thinking, I said, "You will never understand the extent to which I love you." And it clicked in me in that moment that I will never understand fully the extent to which he loves me. And it was, I think I get it a little bit, and that was huge for me. Mm-hmm. You look pretty.
No, I think you add so much fun to our family.
You're super fun.
Yeah. I just love just having somebody you can be unfiltered and silly with. Mm-hmm. You know, especially like there's ups and downs in life, and being able to be silly in the middle of it, I think is a big bonus. So much closer.
Well, I mean, that comes when, you know, you went from dating to being married and living in the same house. Like it's just so much deeper.
Well, you know. And like when you learn more about each other, like, oh, this person sometimes like leaves their shorts on the floor, or like, you know, and like going through those things.
Is that me or you?
That one's you.
Oh, okay.
No, but like having things to love in spite of, I think. And you can say that, I'm sure, of me, like, because, you know, I tend to run us late. Somebody joked the other day at a church service that if they had the gift of teleportation, that they would never be late to church. And I looked at Joe and I said, I would still be late for church. I would still be late. There's more sacrificial love involved. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. You keep me on track a lot more. I'm not really good at keeping up with my devotionals or trusting God first. At our church, we say prayer should be the first response, not the last resort. And I think you embody that better than I do. And so this relationship has started to keep me like accountable to that. And so I'm really grateful for that.
Aw.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
We started the Like Our Father book
Yeah, that's been good.
from the Joneses.
We just finished with my small group, Like a Fan by Kyle Eidemann, and we're going to be starting Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table from Louis Giglio. I had a dream that, I would like to live in a place that was just a little bit bigger than where I was living before, and not just so I have more space, but so therefore we could use that as a space to honor God and have people over, have small groups, and be able to seek the Lord together. And before we even moved the furniture in, our first day was sitting in lawn chairs in this living room.
Lawn chairs are furniture.
Well, yeah. Eating a pizza from the 7-Eleven on the corner. It was
That you cut with a utility knife.
because we didn't have any utensils. But I just thought it was so cool that God chose to honor that intention on the first use of this house.
Mm-hmm. Jameson.
Oh yeah, our son. He's great, honestly. I love that kid. If I were to sum up what I'm most grateful for, it's family. Family in general. It's been something that's always been like a really, really soft spot for me. Starting a family, creating a legacy, and those things. And so I'm just really, really grateful that, this year I've been blessed with that in abundance.
Yeah. We'll have a 1-year-old.
We'll have a 1-year-old.
Probably a lot more baby proofing.
Yeah, he's gonna hit his head on so many things. I'm sorry in advance, buddy. If you're looking back on this, I am so sorry. In 5 years, maybe a house.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Paid off the car.
Debt free, maybe in the next year or two.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
We mapped it out that we would be debt free in 2 years. But
but the best laid plans of my
yeah,
side.
yeah. We'll see what happens.
Just to continue to grow closer.
Yeah, set a culture for our family.
Yeah.
Set the precedent of what our trajectory is gonna be for our kids,
Yeah.
I think remembering to be your best self as much as you can. Remembering that God is so good to you even at moments where you don't deserve it, and doesn't hold things over our heads, and I think when you live like that and you create a culture of grace, there's so much love.
I think be more intentional. I love our marriage and our relationship. And some people might say that we're still in the honeymoon phase, but I think honeymoon phase is a choice, and so choosing love more, choosing intentionality more, and even when the chips are down and stuff like that, I would hope that we both remain together, united, resilient, leaning on God and each other to get us through those things.
Yeah. I don't know, there's a lot of different ways that people relate to God. I know you're very intellectual and better at studying up on theology and watching all these YouTube videos about different stuff, and I think it would be cool for us to learn to love God in the ways that each other love God.
Yeah, I would like to know God more on an emotional level rather than an intellectual one.
And I think I could be a little more intellectual.
You're a Bible quizzer. How do you...
No, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
though. A little more studious. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I would like to be remembered like I remember my dad, despite when the chips were down or whatever circumstances that we have found ourselves in, that I continue to trust in the Lord and lean on Him and push forward even when it was hard.
Yeah. And I think too, I know we've talked about how much we care about family, But I want our family to embody that for other people that come in our doors. Like Jameson, when he brings his friends over, I want them to feel like they're with family. You know? Authenticity.
Authenticity, compassion, vulnerability, resilience, and steadfast faithfulness. I think those would all be.
Solid.
I know that sounds like I had that rehearsed. I didn't, I swear. So yeah, 1 year down, right?
Yeah.
And hopefully many more to come. We'll see you guys next year.
See you next year. Bye.